Good morning. Welcome to the beautiful Church of the River in gorgeous downtown Memphis, Tennessee. Please take a moment to look out the window. It's one of the best views in Memphis. I'm Courtney Staub. I've been a member here since 1999. I use she, her pronouns, and I just joined the board. Pray for me. We are so pleased to have you here in person and online. Thank you for joining our service today. As you are able, in body or spirit, please rise and join us for hymn number 21 in your gray hymnal, For the Beauty of the Earth. Again, that's hymn number 21. Thank you. I have a few announcements to share with you. This morning, we have childcare and family ministry gatherings for children and youth of all ages from birth through 12th grade. Youth in 6th through 12th grades gather at 11 a.m. in the youth room across the courtyard, which is behind us, while our younger children join us here for the beginning of the service. Any visiting youth are invited to join them now, and of course, children of all ages are always welcome to remain in the sanctuary. The order of service is abbreviated today, but you can view details by scanning the QR code on the front of the printed edition. After church today, Monica Clark Robinson, yay, will lead any interested folks in a worship associate training. If you are someone who isn't terrified of public speaking, loves the idea of being part of a creative and vibrant leadership team, and wants to support our new interim minister as a worship associate, stay after church for the training. We will provide lunch. After we eat, we will move into the training, which should last no more than an hour and a half. I'm going to call on Mary Lou McCaslin. She has a couple of announcements to share.
Hi everyone, I'm Mary Lou McCaslin. I'm chair of the Committee on Ministry, and today I'm coming at you with 2 food-related announcements, so I know I'll be the favorite announcement maker today. Today, like Courtney just said, we do have lunch for the lay leader training. We are also having for everyone a little goodbye reception for Monica so that we can all gather together and grieve our loss. So come on over. We are having a fully vegan little goodbye reception with sweets and the sharing of the lay leader training lunch, okay? So help yourself even if you aren't able to stay. Numero dos, if you are going to be with us in 2 weeks, okay, so that is August 3rd, it will be the first Sunday for our new Reverend Lynn, our interim minister, and we would like to extend a very warm Church of the River welcome and show the Reverend how excited we are to join in this coming interim journey. So we are going to be having a potluck lunch that week, okay? So mark your calendars for August 3rd. Please bring a dish to share. August 3rd, after the service, we'll be having a welcome reception for Reverend Lynn. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lou. If you are a first-time visitor to the Church of the River, we are delighted to have you here. If you are interested in finding out more about our church, pick up a welcome bag from the credenza. Mike is back there holding up a lovely pink bag. There's all kinds of goodies inside.
And I just forgot, there is childcare for today.
Yes, there is childcare for today. Thank you for confirming. For details on these and other Church of the River's events and activities, scan the QR code in your order of service, email info@churchoftheriver.org, subscribe to our weekly mailing list, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Blue Sky. With no more announcements, our worship service will now begin. I am pleased to read you some special opening words today. Monica and I are collaborating on a new worship resource called the UUA Worship Web. Go and check it out. And so with no further announcements and no further ado, I am going to read these words for you from Loretta Williams. This piece is entitled Affirmation of Hope. We, bearers of the dream, y'all, I'm so sorry, I have the frogs like crazy. We, bearers of the dream, affirm that a new vision of hope is emerging. We pledge to work for that community in which justice will be actively present. We affirm that there is struggle yet ahead. Yet we know that in the struggle is the hope for the future. We affirm that we are co-creators of the future, not passive pawns. And we stand united in affirmation of our hope and vision of a just and inclusive society. We affirm the unity of all persons. We affirm a unity that opens our eyes, ears, and hearts to see the different but common forms of oppression, suffering, and pain. Yet we are one in the image of God and the divine, and we celebrate our hopes for human unity. Within ourselves and within the gathered community, we will discover the strength not to hide in indifference, affirming that hope, publicly expressed, energizes and enables us to move forward. Together, we pledge action to transcend barriers, be they racial, political, economic, social, or religious. We pledge to make our tomorrows become our todays. Does everyone have some way to see the chalice lighting words? Okay. Let's do a repeat after me, except guess what? Cutie patootie. I don't, and I would love to tell you that I know the chalice lighting words, but that would be probably not really true from memory. So, oh my goodness, kids. Like this chalice. You know, freedom. Acceptance, loving kindness, and a grateful heart. You are very miraculous. Thank you. Well done. Okay. If I had one more piece of paper, my life would be complete. Yes, here we go. All right. After the beautiful chalice lighting, we will join in singing hymn number 18 in your gray hymnal, What Wondrous Love Is This?
Wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, that brings my heart such bliss, and takes away the pain of my soul, of my soul.
Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. My name is Monica Clark Robinson. I'm a guest speaker here this morning and the former intern minister, and my pronouns are she and her. It's very good to be with you here this morning. Before we do our time for all ages, and we have, because this is vacation time of the year, we have very few children here this morning, so we're going to need some young at heart folks. So if there's anyone who wants to be an active member, because I have about a dozen oranges that are going to be used by the young at heart folks. Before I begin our time for all ages, I just want to tell you, you may notice that I'm not wearing a mask today. That is because my wonderful wife, her neutrophil numbers are up, so it's not as risky for me. What I will ask for you, though, is if you are coming to talk to me or hug me afterwards, if you feel sick or have been around anyone who feels sick, stand about 6 feet away from me and just give me a wave if you don't mind. Otherwise, I welcome all the hugs, okay? So, we've been talking about food this morning, and oh my goodness, Mary Lou, where are you? There you are. All vegan reception? I thought there might be a cake, maybe, but I did not expect that. That's amazing. So it's wonderful that we're talking about food this morning, because my choice of being vegan is a part of my story about food, just like you have stories about food, just like our society has stories about food. So we're gonna start, and we're going to take an orange and pass it down. I think we should have plenty for this first row. Take an orange and pass it down. Everybody gets one on this row. I believe that will be just fine. So, we're going to do a meditation upon an orange to talk about the story of this orange, to talk about the story of food and how we feel about food, and how food is a big part of our lives, right? So, first of all, let's just look at this orange. What do you notice about it? Do you notice anything? It has bumps. It's small because this is actually a clementine orange. Yes? It's smooth. It's smooth, but it's got a little bit of bumpiness to it. It's kind of in the middle. Yeah. It's an orange. Does it smell like an orange? It doesn't smell like an orange yet, does it? It really doesn't. Now, don't everybody do this because I don't want to make a mess. But I'm going to do this. And now pass my open orange down and smell that. Boy, that's a smell we really know well, isn't it? So let's think about the journey this orange took to get to your palm, right? First of all, what first had to happen for this orange to get to us? A seed was planted. And interestingly enough, in most commercial orange growing, I looked this up last night, things you never know you're gonna Google when you're training to be a minister, right? I Googled how are commercial orange trees planted, and most of them are grafted onto existing trees. Yes?
Oranges are made from trees.
100% right. So oranges are made from trees, there has to be a seed, and then there's grafting. And then there's a farmer, right? Or maybe lots of farmers. There are probably also workers. Sunlight, yes. Water, yes. Time, ooh, okay. PhD 2035. Yes, all of these things. Everything had to be just right. Soil, time, water, farmer, and then the person to harvest it, right? And then what happened after it gets picked? How did it get to me? We put it on a truck. Do you have something?
You put it on a truck and then they drive it to the store so you can buy the oranges.
100%. And then there was also a grocery store owner. Distribution, right? It probably traveled a very long way to get to me because where do oranges grow? Hot places, California, Florida, Mexico, right? Right. So then it got to me, finally, right? So all of those people, and the truth is, every single item of food that we take in comes from a chain like this, right? And I encourage you sometime this week, if you're eating an orange or a pomegranate or an apple, to do it mindfully in meditation of how this got to you and what had to happen to get that food to become energy for you. Yes?
There's something that's healthy in the orange.
Yes. This orange provides us health, right? Because it's got nutrients and vitamins and all of those good things. It gives us energy. Okay, now, we've talked about the mechanics of how it got to us. But what about the story of what an orange is to us, right? Food is filled with meaning, relationship. It's filled with memory. It's filled with our culture. It's filled with things that we're not so proud of in this country, right? Like colonization, like racism even sometimes, depending on the food. What about the story of this orange? First of all, do you have any personal stories with oranges? I'll share one. When my daughters were little, my wife would often make them a fruit plate and do it in the shape of like a funny smile using the different kinds of fruit, right? Probably lots of parents have done that. And so I remember oranges in the shape of a grin And so that's a story that I have that's connected to oranges. Does anyone else? Yes, Lee.
So my wonderful mother-in-law would always bring me what's called satsuma, which I think is just a kind of clementine, whenever I visited her in Louisiana. And so today, whenever I have any kind of orange product, she's, passed, but whenever I have any kind of orange, I always remember her, and it makes me smile.
She has to learn, right? All right, we have another story with oranges.
Last year on 4th of July, we made a cookie, and it had different. It was shaped in a heart, and we put different types of fruit on it.
Ooh, that sounds like a fruit-topped cookie. That sounds amazing. Yeah. We have all kinds of stories of fruit. Anyone else? Anything have one from their past? Or
Yes, my mother had an orange tree, and she's also passed, and I think of being there in Arizona picking the oranges.
so you grew up with an orange tree?
I did not. It's where she lived later in life.
Oh, I see. Okay. So we all have personal stories with these things, right? They are also nutrients. They are also memory. And the truth is, also when we think about who is picking this fruit, we start to realize that just like the stories of our country have some not so good things, our food also has some stories of not so good things, of who is being harmed, who is doing work for not enough money, right? Food is everything that we as Unitarians value. It's community, it's justice, it is transformation, because this was transformed from a seed to a tree to a fruit, right? It's everything that we value when you see it from a big enough perspective. Do you have one more thing to say?
An orange is a type of vitamin.
Yes. And do you know what vitamin it has a lot of? It has a lot of vitamin C. Yeah. So that is a meditation on an orange. I encourage you this week to take time to just have a silent, mindful meditation with a piece of fruit, or a broccoli, or a cookie, or a donut. Exactly how complex these things are. And when we take time to think about it and appreciate what it is, what it took to get to us, it means even more. So that is your time for all ages today. Why don't you bring your comment to your teacher today, and you guys can continue the conversation about it. You may take these oranges with you. They are yours to keep. And now, if you will, get your blessing hands in the air for me to send our children out. And we say, you are powerful. You are sacred. You are beloved. Go in peace. Y'all didn't give me enough time to get up here today. That's all right. Our first reading today, once I pull it up here, is by a favorite of mine. But it is a little sad to bring a reading from him. This is from Anthony Bourdain. This is from his book, Kitchen Confidential. You learn a lot about someone when you share a meal together. Food is everything we are. It's an extension of nationalist feeling, ethnic feeling, your personal history, your province, your region, your tribe, your grandma. It's inseparable from those from the get-go. And food may not be the answer to world peace,
but it's a start. My goodness, what a gift James is to this congregation, am I right? My word. The next reading is from Michael Pollan. The Omnivore's Dilemma is the name of the book. The way we eat represents our most profound engagement with the natural world. Daily, our eating turns nature into culture, transforming the body of the world into our bodies and minds. The shared meal is no small thing. It is a foundation of family life, the place where our children learn the art of conversation and acquire the habits of civilization. Sharing, listening, taking turns, navigating differences, arguing without offending. For is there any practice less selfish, any labor less alienated, any time less wasted than preparing and enjoying something delicious and nourishing for and with the people you love? I now invite you into, I believe, yes, a time of prayer or meditation with me. And if I could, Bonnie, would you, I left my reading glasses in my purse 2 rows in front of you. Could you hand those up to me? I think that's what Michael Pollan and Anthony Bourdain said, but I don't have my reading glasses with me. I left them. Thanks, darling. There we go. Now, we're going to have our time of prayer or meditation in a contemplative spirit, and I hope you'll indulge me. I'm going to be praying today less as the voice of the congregation and more as the voice of me, giving a prayer of blessing for you upon my leave-taking and upon this new transition that you guys are going through with Reverend Lynn. So if you will join me, please, in a moment of prayer. Sacred divine love, which we call by many names and no name, this congregation has had a lot of change this year, and now they're going to have a little bit more. Be with them as they go through this process. Be with them as they learn to love a new minister. Be with them as they experience growth and change, and as they see that the same love is still at the center of it all. Help this congregation, sacred, divine, to express their values even more in these coming years. Justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity. Let them learn these things anew through the new eyes of Reverend Lynn. Let them also find new ways of being, new ways of doing church, new ways of seeing each other. Change is the only constant we know, maybe other than love. I hope that this year they will feel Spirit rising in their hearts in this new transition that they're going through. Also, Spirit, be with those in need all around the world, in times of war and strife, in times where not everyone is heard, not everyone is given the time and attention that they need. Be with those in need and help us, help the ones who need it, and help us also give ourselves rest and joy in the process. We ask these things in the names of those known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, who have served as true servants of life, love, and justice. Amen, and blessed be. And now I invite you to spend a few moments in silence for the prayers of your own heart. Amen. It's the button in the middle. I'll do it. No worries. No worries. I will introduce the offertory. It is now the time, you know what's happening here. It's the time that we're going to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, the thing that makes this church keep going, keep chugging along, saying, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. We are now going to gratefully and thankfully receive the offering that supports this church and its many ministries. Donations can be made in a lot of ways by scanning the QR code on the sign up at the welcome table on your printed order of service, via text to 901-350-2686, or on the website at churchoftheriver.org. The gifts of the congregation will now be gratefully given and received. Thank you so much. Well, it is so good again to be with you all today. You know, it is no accident that life's most important moments usually have food as a central feature. Now, you may be asking yourselves, why are you talking about this today, Monica? Why food for your last sermon with us? Well, for several reasons. Because first of all, we are gathering for food after service today. And because it got me thinking, as I was talking with Mary Lou about the food for today, got me thinking about how much food is at the center of who we are uniquely. And I also have a really great story, personal story, to share with you later in the sermon about food. The truth is, whether we are celebrating, grieving, gathering to work collectively, saying goodbye, marking important milestones, all of these things, food is how we gather. It is at the juncture of everything we hold dearest in life. What we eat, how we eat it, and who we eat it with says everything about us. How we were raised, the prayers we pray, the holidays we celebrate, the oppressions we may have faced or still face. Winona LaDuke, the Ojibwe activist, environmentalist, and author, said, "Food has a culture. It has a history. It has a story. It has relationships." Food is bone deep for most of us. It's connected intimately to our race, our religion, our ancestors, the ones who directly raised us. In fact, I read a quote that said, food culture is just another name for your mother, right? I kind of like that. Tell me what you eat, or just as importantly, what you don't eat, and I will immediately know something about your values and your culture. The act of cooking and eating and gathering together for meals is a kind of sacred communion, a collective sharing that is at the core of our being. Think about the foods of your childhood. Right now, throw out some of the wildest things that you had as a child that you were like, the boy, that's grandma, right there, that dish. What are they? Cheeseburger chowder? I'm confused and excited right now. What's another one? Say that again? Lefse. Oh, lefse! Oh, yeah. I've been in church basement, ladies. I'm not a Lutheran, but I've played one on stage. So I know lefse. Yeah. What else? Fried chicken. What else? Green fluff. Is that like marshmallowy based? Oh, yeah. My aunt always made that, right? These foods connect us to the story of our culture, our traditions, our people, our relationships. What do they say, all these foods? What do they say about who you are, who your people are or have been, and what you value? Or they often say how much money you did or didn't have. Food is intricately tied not only to our personal relationships, but also our race, our culture, our religious upbringing, our socioeconomic status, our geographical reason. Let's take, for instance, a favorite food of mine from childhood and kind of take it apart, this one particular food. Beans and cornbread. How many here grew up with beans and cornbread? Okay, fair few. I imagine if we were up north, a lot more hands would be down, right? This dish tells the complicated story of Southern white foodways stolen from the people some of my ancestors enslaved. It tells the story of traditions taken from natives who were killed or forced to leave, even as my white ancestors embraced many of their foods, like corn. Yes, this food starts with a hard and violent story, and the truth is many of our foods do, especially down south, which is part of what we have to own about it. But it also tells the story, this beans and cornbread, of my people, simple farm people, my ancestors, living lightly on the land because they had no money to do otherwise. They were sharecroppers. It speaks of making do, which has been my cultural heritage for many generations. Within these dishes is the no-frills, unfancy kind of ethic of food that my grandmothers all did. It is the version, my version of the dish, also honors my ethical veganism because I don't use the lard or the fat back. Is that what it was called? I think I remember that. Yeah. Or the bacon. And my ethical veganism is one of the deep parts of my own personal faith and how I express my Unitarian Universalism. So you see what I'm building here? All of these stories, right? Yes, the hard, violent stories and the personal relationships and my personal ethics all combined. And of course, it's intimately connected to individual relationships. I make my cornbread in the same cast iron skillet that my grandmother used for decades. Complicated, these food stories. Truly, we are what we eat. On the most basic level, of course, food is the fuel of life, right? Calories in, calories out. It's what we must consume in order for our corporeal engines to function properly. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, sleep, and repeat. Each one, though, says something about who we are. Is our food vegan, paleo, raw, locally sourced, grown by our family, keto, all the different ways, organic? Think about how our faith, too, affects our food choices and practices. Think about people of faith around the country. Is our meat halal? Are our groceries kosher? Do we cook all days on Friday so we don't have to light a stove to work on the Sabbath? Or do we come home on Friday to a meal of fish in honor of our Catholic faith? Do we choose what is or is not food-based on our faith values or spiritual beliefs about health, like the Seventh-day Adventists or Mormons? Have we eaten countless vats of hummus as potluck-loving UUs? You know what I'm talking about. Thousands of meals, millions of calories, a lifetime of food choices that keep us alive and kicking. Some meals, though, and I'm gonna try really hard not to cry through this section. Some meals, some very, very special meals, are more about giving us the energy to leave than to live. And this is the story I want to share with you today. I think it really highlights all the intersections of what food means to us. It's a story of food that connects us to the land, to my heritage, and to my relationships. I prepared the last meals ever eaten by both of my grandmothers, Verna Pearl Burford and Kathleen Clark. I don't know why or how I was chosen for this great honor, and of course we didn't know that it would be their last meals at the time, although we kind of had an inkling. But I do treasure these two experiences more dearly than all the money or fame in the world. My two grandmothers had no hired chefs to cater to their whims for their final feasts. What they did have, though, was me, the first granddaughter on both sides, and the one among all the grandkids who loved to cook the most. I had spent my childhood at their side, licking the bowls and watching the kitchen magic unfold like spells from a cauldron. As I grew older, I called them for their pimento cheese recipe, or how did they make fried chicken, or their cornbread. We may have been grandmother and grandchild, but we were sisters in the kitchen. They had both spent a lifetime of cooking for others. Both had worked in food service, cooking in schools and hospitals. They also both cooked for their respective churches, one Southern Baptist and one Pentecostal. They both grew gardens and canned or preserved their harvests. I remember growing up, they canned just about everything: jelly, jam, tomatoes, stew, corn, green beans, beef, pinto beans, horticulture peas, purple hull peas, purple hull pea jelly, yes, that's a thing, apple pie fillings, salsa, chow chow, and on and on. And as for their style of cooking, they were both firmly in the old-style Southern camp, eating mostly from the garden and often from animals they raised themselves. Grandma Burford was a cornbread aficionado who put a dollop of lard in everything she made. A no-nonsense, and some might even say hard woman, she pretty much stuck to a narrow rotation of simple meals, and the vegetables were almost always cooked down to a mush. Now, Grandma Clark was more of a biscuit woman, and she never met a can of cream of anything soup that she didn't like. You grew up the way I did, I see. She was perhaps a bit more adventurous in the kitchen than Grandma Burford, offering up occasionally composed casseroles and even the occasional Italian or Mexican dish. Differences aside, though, both of these women could absolutely throw down a feast when the occasion called for it. I still dream of meals around their tables, overflowing with calories and love and gravy and safety. Though my tastes have gotten far more foodie chic since childhood, still, as my cousin Anita says, gravy is my favorite flavor. So, the story of Grandma Burford's last meal. It's a sad one at the start. She was diagnosed with late-stage skin cancer, and she was only given weeks to live. From diagnosis to death was a frighteningly fast 7 weeks. In the final 2 weeks, her appetite really took a plunge. So I came to her house one morning to help her take a shower, and we all knew it wouldn't be long before she'd have to go to the hospital, probably for good. After her shower, we sat down to chat, and I let her rest. And I said, "I'd be glad to fix you something, Grandma, if you think you could eat." "Well," she said slowly, and I'm gonna have to do their voices, I'm sorry. "Now that you mention it, I could really do with some beans and some cornbread. Haven't had any in an age." It had been several days since she'd eaten more than a bite of anything. "I'll put on a pot right now," I told her. Now that wouldn't be a real pot of beans, cooked from dried and soaked overnight. There was no time for that. But this can of beans was going to be seasoned within an inch of my life. Every ounce of culinary skill that I had was put into those beans. And the cornbread was baked in her cast iron skillet, the one I inherited after she passed. She ate every crumb of cornbread that I served her and literally drank the remaining liquid from the empty bowl of beans, which is called what? Pot liquor. That's right. And then I said to her, "I'm happy to make you something else for the next couple of days if you'd like." "Well," she said, "I have had a hankering for fried taters." It was then that I understood what was happening. She was preparing to leave, and she wanted to go out with her favorites. We were performing the last gustatory rites together, and I was the chef priestess. In every bite, her mother and grandmother and generations before her were present. In every bite, her favorite Bible scriptures were present. In every bite, the farmer was present. Her garden was there, her canning jars. Everything that mattered to her was a part of that meal, including myself. I didn't know it at the time that it would be her last actual meal, but I was fairly certain that it was her last feast. Before it was all over, I had made her beans, cornbread, fried taters, herbed tomato soup, and salad, and a fruit salad with pecans, or pecans, as she calls it. Ostensibly, I was making it for her just to eat over the next several days, but over the course of a few hours, she ate a serving of everything. Now, if you have dealt at all with the slow death of someone near the end of their life, you will know that what was happening was not that she was improving, it was her final rally. That was the last meal she ever ate. It was the last bite she ever ate. And so now, beans and cornbread are holy to me. Fried potatoes are liturgy, and tomato soup has become communion. Any food can become holy when it is tied to who and what we love. Now, my Grandma Clark's last meal which came a few years later, was less poetic, but with a touch of humor and a little white lie at the center, which I hope you'll forgive me for, and I am not sorry about it. She was in a hospice facility and hadn't felt like eating anything for a long while. I came to visit her at the facility, and I found her more responsive and talkative than I'd seen in days. "Do you want me to get you some food, Grandma?" I asked her. "You know," she said, "I believe I could eat." So I went to the hospitality room at the hospice facility to see if there was anything available. This is one of those hospice facilities where local church groups and other groups will drop off dishes for the family to have while they're sitting with their dying loved ones. When I opened the fridge door, I hit the jackpot. Mexican chicken casserole. It was one of Grandma's favorites, made with at least 2 different cans of cream of something soups. She and I have bonded over our love of this dish for decades. Now, if you've never had this delicacy, I can assume you either aren't from here, or maybe you're under 30, or maybe your people are fancier than mine, or conversely, maybe you're Latino and you're laughing silently at me and my white Mexican chicken casserole at this very moment, which is totally, totally fair. This dish, if you haven't had it, is cheesy, creamy, with the tiniest hint of Tex-Mex spice from a can or 2 of Rotel. It can be made with corn or flour tortillas, or in its most sacred form, with Doritos. The sticky note on the foil that covered the disposable pan told me that it was from the women's group of Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Church, and that it had been made only the day before. Now, I'm not a Catholic, but I've played a Catholic nun many times on stage. And I have long since had the Hail Mary prayer memorized. Excuse me. I've always had the Hail Mary prayer memorized. The words have never left my actor brain. As the seconds counted down on the microwave in the hospital room, I decided Grandma could use all the help she could get. So, to honor the women of Our Lady of Fatima, I said the Hail Mary quite a few times while I was waiting for that food to heat up. And if you know it, feel free to say it with me. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. When the casserole came out of the microwave, steaming hot and smelling of Grandma's kitchen in the past, I silently thanked the good women of Our Lady of Fatima. As the prayer says, they were full of grace indeed. So this casserole that contained my relationship with my grandma, it contained our white Southern tradition of cooking, and it also contained the love and the gifting of these women from a faith tradition my grandmother and I knew nothing about. It contained the love and the gifting of these women from a faith tradition my grandmother and I, other than how to wear a wimple on stage and how to repeat the Hail Mary. So when I walked into Grandma's room, I said, "I got you some Mexican chicken casserole." And I fed her the first bite, and she said, "Oh, that's the best thing I've eaten in ages." And I smiled at her and I said, "I thought you'd like it." "Did you make it for me, Monica?" Now, if you could have seen her face, it was shining with the joy and hope that I, her firstborn grandchild and sister in the kitchen, that I had made this just for her from the recipe that she'd shared with me long ago. Now look, there's a time for truth, and there's a time for love. Sure, I was a vegan who hadn't eaten, much less cooked chicken in ages, but she didn't remember that, and a little white lie wouldn't hurt in this case, I told myself. I imagined the good women of Our Lady of Fatima smiling at me and nodding their approval. I told myself I'd say 3 Hail Marys later in my transgression. I made it just for you. I sure did, Grandma. I know how much you love it. 2 days later, she was gone, and that was the last food she ever ate. Now, perhaps you have foods like this that tie you to your heritage. This past summer, I did some of my chaplain training at a day shelter for homeless folks. Every Monday and Wednesday, close to 100 people would gather for a meal made by a local church, temple, synagogue, or volunteer group. I was always fascinated when I saw what these churches brought. At first, I thought they're going to bring beans and rice, or maybe they'll bring some cheap spaghetti maybe, right? No. The meals that were brought were feasts. They were giant pans of lasagna and garlic bread and brownies and ribs and enchilada casseroles and just the most amazing foods and the vegetables and the salads. It was a feast each and every time. No one bringing the food thought, we're bringing for people with nothing. We can make it as cheap as we can get it. No. They prepared feasts for these people. I also noticed there were many people of different faiths and backgrounds who came to be fed at these meals, and frequently a favorite food from their childhood would show up. I would see someone sitting at a table and just quietly praying or sobbing or taking a moment over a meal, and when I would talk to them about it, it was because it reminded them of someone, of a relationship that they'd had, of something their grandma made. One person told me that it was the first time they'd had a chocolate chip cookie in years, and it was their favorite, right? These things are deep to us. They're so deep. And I imagine there are members here from many faith traditions and upbringings as well. We Unitarian Universalists are a pluralistic tradition, and our potluck tables are a testament to it. You're just as likely to find Memphis barbecue as you are curried lentil soup or lasagna or tamales. Just like my beans and cornbread, they are who we are, both individually from the traditions we were raised in and collectively as Unitarian Universalists. This pluralism, which is one of our core values, is also part of our food. There is no part of us that you cannot find in food. Around the country, the ways that UUs engage with food and farming and cooking show who we are. Many of our congregations, including us, do a stone soup service every year, or a bread communion, or an orange communion, or a silent ancestor feast around All Hallows Eve. Some congregations have moved to all vegetarian or vegan potlucks out of an expression of their beliefs about the ethical ways of eating. We donate to food drives. We volunteer at soup kitchens. We raise money to feed those in need. We support local and slow food movements. We take empty lots and turn them into community gardens. All of these things, not all churches, not all UU churches do these things, but we all do some of these things. These are a part of who we are. We also often have supper circles to foster community building. Do you hear what I hear when I tell the story of all the ways UUs are expressing themselves through food? I'll tell you what I hear. I hear justice. I hear equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. Our values. All these things are us. They show who we are and what we value. When we break bread together in all these varied ways, we are sharing our values. We are what we eat and who we eat with. We are who we serve. We are the dish we bring to the potluck, and we are the food that we ask for in our final meals on this earth. Food is more than calories in and calories out. Food is faith, food is theology, food is cultural and racial heritage, even, and maybe especially, the ugly parts of it. Food is the interconnected web of existence. Food is the belief in the inherent worthiness and dignity of every person. Food is story. Food is relationship. Food is love. Amen, and blessed be. And now we are going to rise in body or spirit for hymn number 360, Here We Have Gathered.
I scarcely know how to bless you as I do this benediction for the last time for you all. Beloveds, may you have a beautiful year of learning and love and growth and joy. May you get into some good trouble. And may you express your values as only you uniquely can. Go in peace and love.